How's it, everybody? CelticLink here, and we're back for another Dokkan battle video. I recently did a poll on Twitter, as promised in my channel update video. Every Friday I'm going to put out a poll asking you guys what you guys want to see for Tutor Request Saturday. And it looks like this week you guys requested to see some tier lists. Oh boy. So, in this video, we're going to go over my Dokkan Festival exclusive TUR tier list. No LRs this time. Maybe we can do that a little bit later in the week. So, if that's something you're interested in, why don't you strap in and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Alright, let's do this. We're going to head on over to Dokkan Tier Maker here. We're going to use this template here. I've got quite a few things in mind that I want to talk about here, so let's just dive on in. Let's start with number 10. So at number 10, I had to put a lot of thought into who I think could be number 10. There's a lot of TURs that released in the last year that I think kind of fit the bill, but there's one who sort of edged out the most to me that deserves a spot on here, and that is Dokkan Festival's Super Vegeta. A lot of people give him a lot of crap because of his piss-poor defense, and I can understand that, but what puts him in the top 10 for me is his utility and his sort of risk-reward playstyle. You really cannot go wrong with a unit that guarantees a crit. Like, there's just no question about it. He is a guaranteed crit when you put him in there. Now, you can get him to deal some additional damage if you play your cards right, use your items correctly, and end up with a pretty powerful unit if your slot 1 works out well enough. But he's also on quite a few good teams. The Android Cell Saga team got an extreme buff this last month, so he's on those teams. He's on teams like the Int Majin Vegeta's Vegeta Family Gifted Warrior team. He's got places he can be used and be used very well. I've done quite a few showcases with this guy showing that he is quite powerful and quite the utility knife, so to speak. So that's why he gets into number 10 for me. Moving on to number 9. On number 9, I really didn't have to think too much about this one. I kind of went straight to who it was, and that is Int Broly, if I can find him. Int Broly right here. Int Broly is just a great unit. He stacks. He has damage reduction against Hybrid Saiyans and type enemies. He has an active skill that just makes him all the more powerful. He's got guaranteed crits when against Hybrid Saiyans and Pure Saiyans like that. The guy is a monster, and he is pretty much good in every content. If you've watched anybody's Extreme Super Battle Royals for movie bosses, he's on the team, he's the leader, you're running 2 of them, and you are cleaning house. If you've watched any movie boss runs for Legendary Goku, or even just running him on like Legendary Existence with the Super Saiyan Goku, like, they are a powerful combo. He is a powerful unit, and he deserves his spot in spot number 9. For number 10, or sorry, not number 10, number 8, rather, it was a toss-up between who I wanted to put for 7 and 8, because to me it really could have gone either way. For 7 and 8, they were... How do I say this? They were... Number 7 edged it out simply for the teams that they have and that extra bit that they have in their passive. So number 8 sits solidly with... where is he here? Just had him. AGL Gohan. The AGL Kid Gohan does a lot for the teams. He heals, he stacks defense, he's providing 58 defensive support to the team. Again, to the team, 58% defensive support. So he is an all-around good unit. If you've watched my Goku family runs for any of the STR Goku runs, this guy's on the team, right? Because that defensive support cannot be helped. He's one of the few Dokkan Fest exclusive units that can handle the Ultimate Red Zone from last year. Not many of the units introduced last year can handle even on 200% teams. This Gohan is one of them. And for that, I feel like he deserves a spot in the top 10, safely at number 8. Okay, so for number 7, number 7 took, like I said, took a while to think between 7 and 8. And the two that ended up etching it out are actually together, and that is the DT duo from last year's Golden League. I actually put them both as the same because to me, let's see, where is Vegeta? He's hiding from me. There he is. To me, they serve the same function on the same team. Now, when run on GT Heroes, especially if we're talking with the 7th anniversary LRs, the DT Goku kind of edges out over the Vegeta simply because he does have access to the 200% lead, but Vegeta also has that now thanks to the introduction of the Int Majin Vegeta and his 200% skill lead. So, to me, they're both equal, right? They provide rainbow orb changing for their teams, whether it's on Goku's family or GT Heroes, Vegeta's family or GT Heroes, whichever it is, that rainbow orb changing to me cannot be understated, and it's really that ability, right? The defense and attack, like it's pretty to see them get those high numbers with their passive being a Nukem style passive, but realistically, that's inconsistent. The more consistent thing is just their simple ability to change the rainbow orbs, which they're both on teams with a lot of LRs. That's extremely helpful. So, to me, that's what puts them at number 7. All right, when I look at number 6, number 6 was just a unit, like he's great, but he's not top 5 material. But he is good, and don't let the fact that he didn't make it to the top 5 dissuade you from using him, because he is good if I can find him. And that is the Int Majin Vegeta. This guy got a lot of flack right as he came out, and it's because, you know, they were expecting him to do so much damage, he was gonna be good, but he's not, right? He's just not a damage dealer, and I think people failed to realize that about him. But what he is an extremely defensive wall. And for me, that's what puts him at number 6. His defense is astounding. He can tank just about any hit in any event if you put him next to a good Link partner and you have a Trunks on the team. That is his one downfall, is that there are very few Trunkses you can run to activate his passive, but there are quite a few that can work, right? He was introduced with the banner unit, Goten and Trunks, and they are actually pretty solid. So if you're running a Majin Buu Saga team, you've got no problem, right? If you're running a Pure Saiyans team, while it's not always recommended, there are some Trunkses you can use that fit, specifically the STR, Vegeta, and Trunks, and I'm sure we will get a Vegeta and Trunks in the future that will also allow you to do that. If you're running Vegeta's family, well, just go ham. There is literally any Trunks you can use that will make use of his passive and give you that extra damage reduction. So like I said, for him, the thing that puts him at number 6 is his defense. He is a great defensive wall. He works well on Pure Saiyans and especially Vegeta's family. So, that brings us to the top 5. This was difficult. 5, 4, and 3. I could not place these, and I ultimately went just more of who do I prefer using, because to me they're all pretty equal in terms of what they provide for the team. So we'll start with number 5, and number 5 is, to me, is the STR Goku and Gohan, as well as their exchange form, the STR Gohan. They are great, they are really good. They provide a lot, and they are one of the few good units that we have with a 200% leader skill that has been introduced in the game to global. My problem with them and why I ultimately put them at 5 is their leader skill is limited to Android Cell Saga, and while it did receive a huge amount of buffs, it's not a wide enough category to make good use. works. You'll notice in a lot of my runs, like with their team, I almost am never able to fit a full Android Cell Saga, Super Saiyan, or Goku's family team. I always end up having to pull like the GT Gokus in, or the Xeno Gokus, or the AGL Gohan, right, to provide support. They're missing some things that can make them good. As well as in longer events, they don't have a good slot 1 partner unless you count the AGL Gohan. That's basically it. And AGL Gohan is not a good partner until like turn 15 right now. So buyer beware with this one, right? They're great. The problem is they can't take a hit in slot 1. The dodging is nice that he gets post-super, but it's inconsistent at best. Gohan really is the saving grace for this unit. The exchange into Gohan is a monster. The problem is you have to survive and get all 4 super attacks with the STR, Goku, and Gohan together before you can bring out the Gohan. Once you bring out the Gohan, it's game over, right? He's tanking every hit. He's dealing out a massive amount of damage. He's his own slot 1 partner. He's great. It's just the problem of having to deal with the STR, Goku, and Gohan. And ultimately, that's why I put them at number 5. Number 4. Like I said, it was a toss-up between these 3, but number 4 ended up for me being the Kid Buu. And number 3, the STR Goku. Or not STR, was it Fizz? Right, the Fizz Super Saiyan 3 Goku. And I put them both up because I'm going to talk about them sort of in tandem, right? They're both good. They were both released at the same time. They both have pretty similar kits, right? The Goku and Buu have the ability to additional. They get buffs when they additional. The Goku has the ability to stun. He has the ability to transform and launch even more powerful super attacks while raising his attack. Buu can do the same thing. He can raise his defense and attack, and as well as his active skill gives him a flat 20% buff to all of his stats. So they're both pretty insane and run on the right teams. The reason I ultimately put Buu at number 4 instead of number 3, even though, like I said, it's a toss-up, is that right now Buu, his partners have aged. You have Buu tanks, and ultimately Buuhan is what you want, because Buuhan gives you big bad bosses. He doesn't have many good Link partners at the moment, right? Since Worldwide Download Celebrations 2 years ago, we've stepped away from Majin Buu Saga. So there haven't been many good Buu characters. His best Link partner is actually the Tech Exchange Buu, and is even not that good because you don't get big bad bosses from it. So you have to rely on a floating big bad bosses unit, which is not always ideal, right? So to me, it's just, he's at 4 because he's insanely powerful, but it just, the rest of his teams have sort of fallen off. Which brings me to the Goku. Goku's insane. I don't know what more needs to be said. The only reason he's not higher is because of who I have higher in the list, right? Like I said, he can additional, he can stun, he can transform, and then he can hit even harder, right? He is just ridiculously insane. So that brings us to number 2. Number 2 for me is, where are they? They're hiding. There they are. The Tech Androids. I think we all know why they're this high on the list. Like, since the introduction of AGL Cell, these guys are just ridiculous. If you've watched any of my showcases with them on the team, or you watched my Goddess of Destruction run and watch them hit type disadvantage 7 million attack stats, right? It's like, they've got no business being this good. They are, and there are just now so many good supports for them, right? The Int Jiroa 19 make an excellent partner for them, plus the ability to absorb Ki Blast super attacks, which are the most common super attacks in the game, plus the ability to gain attack and defense from orb pickup. while creating the own orbs that they need. And more often than not, you will get the 7 orbs you need to make them stupidly powerful. So to me, that's what puts them at number 2. They are just that good. Okay? So moving on. Before we get to number 1, I want to talk about my what if number 1. I have 2 number 1s. I have who I believe is the best Dokkan Fest TUR on global at the current moment, and who I believe could be number 1, but there's a big if to it. Okay, and we'll start with the if. The if, I'm sure most of you have figured out just simply by the way I'm talking right now. The big if is Captain Ginyu. Captain Ginyu is insane, right? When he's... I'll put both of them up there for you. Alright, when he's in the Ginyu form, right, he's raising defense, right, he gets extra buffs, to the point where he's untouchable, where when run with other Ginyu Force members, he provides a 200% lead to one of the most powerful villain categories in the game, Terrifying Conquerors and Space Traveling Warriors, and he has the ability to transform and heal 59% of your HP. That's huge. But 59% is a lot of HP to get people back. And then he has a Scouter effect, which can be hit or miss sometimes, right? Because it's a chance to activate. So you don't actually know it activates if it's not activated, right? So, they're at number 1, if and only if, because like I said, Ginyu's buffs are all reliant on running Ginyu Force members on the team. If you're someone who summoned for Ginyu, but you didn't pick up his banner units, you're stuck running the free-to-play Ginyu Force team if you want to utilize him to his full potential. And that's not exactly ideal, because the free-to-play team lacks a good slot 1 partner, which is what Ginyu needs until he builds up, right? In the beginning, he takes a lot of damage. I don't know if you guys saw my SBR run with him as a friend, but you need a partner for him. And without that partner, he's kind of not good. He can be run as an external leader for powerful space traveling warrior characters like Frieza's, Bojack's, who else am I missing? The TUR list. But he himself won't be doing that much on that team. He might hit some damage or 2, but he's not linking very well with the rest of the team. And he's also missing like half of his passive. So to me, he gets number 1, but only if you have the rest of the Ginyu Force banner units to run with him. So, I guess you're wondering now, well, if you put him as an only if number 1, well then who do you believe is number 1? I hope, based on if you've been following my channel, I would hope you can have an idea of who I believe is number 1. I believe the current number 1 unit on Global Dokkan is the AGL Cell. I'll put all of his forms up here for kicks and giggles. So, I put AGL Cell as number 1, simply because number 1, his leader skill, Android Cell Saga power absorption, and androids for the 30%, totaling 200%. That is actually a really good leader skill, especially for the androids category. He revived a basically dead category. The tech androids were introduced and everybody was just like, well, these guys are not that good. I mean, they're good, but you can't run their team. Their team is not good. You have to run them under an android's leader skill, and the best leader at the time was either Alar, Tech Super 17, or AGL 13, who has definitely fallen off as not only a leader, but just as a unit. He's starting to show his age. So, he revived a basically dead category, and for me, that gives him a huge sort of advantage over the others. On top of this, he has utility no matter what form he's in. When he's in first and second form, he is an SBR king. He can, when versing multiple enemies, he's got dodge, he's got extra attack, he's got extra defense, right? He's got a lot of utility in SBR, and if you happen to make it to turn 5 and you can transform into Perfect Cell, well, then it's game over, right? Perfect Cell is going to dominate, right? Because throughout all of this, he has a chance to additional, so he is just building attack with every single one of those additionals that he does. And then Perfect Cell's additionals is just phenomenal when he gets them, right? He gains all of the buffs from the 2 previous forms with no restrictions. So he really is just an amazing unit. And if you follow my Gods of Destruction events with this guy, you see that he utterly destroys the gods once he gets to perfect form. On top of that, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily count this for or against him, but having the Rage mode is nice. You basically get 3 free hits with his Rage mode, which is always a plus. But again, to me, it's more what he can do in his first, second, and third form, and his utility both in long form and short form events. His only pitfall is a lack of a slot 1 partner, but that can often be mitigated by running him on an androids team with the Giroa 19 or the Tech androids, right? They can act as sort of a pseudo slot 1 partner if you happen to get a lot of orbs. So they're great, and he's got a lot of good partners that maybe not are slot 1, but will basically activate all his links, right? There's the STR cell, second form cell, the Biz LR cell, who now with his EZA is insane. That is a redonkulous rotation, those two together. And then obviously you have the Imperfect cell once he transforms. They make good linking partners. So all in all, Cell gets number 1 for me simply because of what he did. The reviving category and everything he can do in all 3 of his forms. So anyways, guys, that is my tier list. Let me know what you guys think, if you agree or disagree. I would just like to remind you that this is kind of based on my opinion on these units. You may have a different opinion, and that's okay. You can let me know in the comments down below what your opinion was. I would love to hear it, and I would love to know what you guys thought of my tier list, and if you guys would like to see me do more of these, maybe for LRs or the side banner units, maybe, or even free-to-play. I would actually enjoy doing the free-to-play one. So just let me know down in the comments below. And if you liked seeing this, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And if nothing else, guys, thanks for watching, and aloha.